Hey, boy.
Patty. It says one. We got one call.
We got one call.
Man, these people better pick up the phone or I'm going to get upset. All right, this is Warminster. Filthy, dirty, outdated. Who are we calling?
We're calling Matt Kelly.
Matt.
We spoke with him. He said at the end of the year, the lease is up, and he kind of understood where we were coming from. So we gave it 60 days before we would call him back.
And by we, you mean me. I talked to him.
And you, yeah.
He gets it. Did I send him yes, I sent him the standard generic canned email. End of the year, well, we need to start getting things in place so that it can actually happen. Let's dial his fruity ass up. Here we go. Stand by. Answer the phone, Matt. Now's where you subscribe, you louts. Right now.
Hello, Matt Kelly.
Matt Kelly, Danny D'Angelo, the laundry guy. How's it going, buddy?
How you making out?
I'm making out. That was earlier. Happily married. Matt, so did you get my email?
Okay, good.
I emailed you a little while ago.
From when?
Now, I know you saved my number. I know you know who this is. If you don't, that's all right. I'll refresh.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
Let's do that. Rosemore
Popular
Center.
subject today. Okay, good.
Yeah. So
right.
My modus operandi is fairly simple. My partner and I are always looking for additional coin laundromats to lift our portfolio of existing stores. We go out and we physically scout stores like this one. When we see room for improvement, we want to reach out to Matt, find out if and when a lease might become available so that we can throw our hat into the ring, try to beat you up on the rent a little bit. Listen, this business is simple, yes, but if the simplicity isn't followed through with, then the operators fall apart, the consumers stop coming in, they have choices like anyone, and the store falls apart. This particular laundromat it's not horrible. On a scale of 1 to horrible, it's somewhere in the middle, and it's mostly equipment. So we're interested, like we talked about, in signing a long-term lease, renewing it with new equipment, and making a few dollars in the process. And I believe you said that this lease is almost expired. So maybe we can talk about.
Yeah, we go through the end of it. We go through the end of the year.
Yeah. Okay. If I were, and I own commercial property, so if I were in your shoes, I'd be looking to, rather than having to go from this tenant to an empty space and lack of a tenant and listing the space and finding out whether or not it's going to be a laundromat or an optometrist's office, I'd want to have someone in place. That's us. So I've signed plenty of leases contingent on the exit of the current tenant. I'm not trying to throw anybody out. If you want to wait until 3 days before the guy leaves,
I'm real easy to deal with. I'm real easy to deal with this. I'll give you the terms on the lease, and we see if it works. And I'd love that. If you're a great operator, I'd love to have you. I'd like to. I think last time I asked, I wanted to kind of find what some of your other locations, because you had referenced some local locations. I just wanted to understand
that's what I emailed
local
you.
Locations you had.
That's what I emailed you. I sent you some pictures of the stores. I emailed you that. Probably.
I don't think I got any addresses or where it was. No, I have it in front of me. I have it up in front of me, Dan. But I just don't think I have pictures of the 6 pictures or whatever, but they don't reference any location. That's why I'm just trying to figure out where your other locations are.
Perfect. I'll send you the address. Is this your building or do you work for the landlord?
I'm the asset manager for the shopping center. I'm the landlord's representative.
Love it. So when can we talk terms so that I know whether or not this is a store that we will be moving forward with or if it's just a pipe dream? You've got choices. Like I said, You can vanilla the space. You can put another
Yeah, sure,
operator in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just be assuming, so right now, basically what I'm asking for is I'll do a lease with somebody to continue the use as a laundromat starting on January 1 of 25. The rent would be $19.78 triple net, $19.78 a foot triple net with 3% annual increases. If you want a 5-year lease, I'll give you a 5-year option. If you want to do a 10-year lease, I'll do 2 5s. Somebody will be personally guaranteeing the lease.
Of course.
And they're the basic terms. I mean, I'm not. What that is a 3% increase over what the current tenant's paying. And I'm not looking to ring the bell. I'm just looking to keep things going.
Where do you arrive at 1978 triple net?
3% larger, 3% above what the current tenant's paying today.
I get that. Okay, so 1978 is 3% above what your current operator is paying.
Yep, that's right.
Okay,
that's right.
Well, the difference with us, Matt, we need a reset.
And triple nets are about $6 a foot.
Sure, I can't do anything about the triple nets.
Yeah, I mean,
Can I? Okay, let me finish. So the difference between me and your current operator who has failed, I'll have $300,000+ in debt service on brand new equipment. I don't intend to come in here and hope that he leaves his equipment behind because it's junk. That equipment cost I will drag throughout the entire lease. This is none of your concern. What do you care? Well, if you want a good operator, that's what it takes. Sadly, our business is predominantly just that, the equipment and the payment for that equipment. Keeping it running is a different thing. I can keep a 1968 Toyota Corolla alive forever, but it's not going to be a good Uber service for anybody. That said, we're looking to not to go from what he's paying now and add 3%, but we need a reset. And you're not telling me that that's what standard rate for that area of Warminster is. Okay, understood. But I'm asking this seriously. Why would I go from where your failed operator in a laundromat left off and then add 3% to that? We need to reset that lease.
Yeah, Danny, I hear what you're saying. I have other people interested in the space for the laundromat, and that's fine. I mean, I'm going to take the best deal that I have. So
other people interested.
I have an operator who's there who's trying to. Oh, sure. I got my phone's ringing on this. I actually spoke with somebody today about it. It's very funny. That's why I was so fast with giving you the numbers. I've already talked about it today.
Okay. When can we? So I'm not going to ask about your tenant because it's none of my business, but this is a question about my potential tenancy. When can we sign a lease contingent on the exit of that tenant?
If come to terms, I can sign a lease. I can sign a lease tomorrow. I mean, it's not a lease is not an issue. That
answers my question. Yeah. I'll write you a letter of intent, and it will be a serious. Oh boy, go ahead.
I'm saying the tenant has no options. The tenant is an expiring.
Now you're telling me about your tenant, and the only reason that I asked that previous question was to get to an answer, and I have my answer. So I'm assuming that he has no options. I'm assuming he has no intention to renew. I'm assuming you have no intention to renew with him, no matter how much.
I'm not saying. I didn't say that. I didn't say he has no intention to renew. I never said he had no intention to renew. I'm just saying he has no. He doesn't have any.
You have a funny.
There's nothing stopping me from giving.
Sure.
From signing a lease with you.
The one thing that should be stopping you is if that tenant, who you have history with, were to come to you and say, "Well, we would like to go in, buy some new equipment and renew," then you'd get your 1978 and 3% increases. That would make perfect sense because he's not looking for a reset like we are or any potential tenant.
Yeah, nobody's getting a reset, but nobody's getting a reset.
Nobody's getting a reset.
I mean, that's. I mean, I don't know what a reset is. I don't know what a reset is. That's the market for the 2,000-foot shopping center. Okay. And I you don't have to, Danny. I appreciate it, but you don't have to.
You didn't know what it was.
At the end of the day, that's the market. That's the market for the shopping center, and I'm leasing a shopping center space. I'm not leasing specifically to a laundromat. If the guy wants to sell widgets in there and pay me my rent, I'll sell to somebody who wants to sell widgets. It's not a. It's. I'm not. I don't really. Your business is your business. My business is mine. Right.
What's your business?
I'm okay if leasing space, Danny.
Got it. So in that case, after we hang up, we can further your knowledge of leases. Reset, if I'm renting an apartment and I stay there for 10, 11, 12 years, I assume the rent will go up. If I leave, the next guy is looking for a reset of that lease. And this is not an apartment.
Yeah, no, that's not the way it works, Danny.
That's not the way it works.
I appreciate that, but it's not the way it's.
Oh my
Danny,
God.
I'm not going to debate how we're going to lease space to you and what the market is. Okay.
One more thing that we're not going to debate.
If you want to lease the space, send me an LOI. Send me an LOI.
One more thing.
I told you
but
what our
no,
terms
this is
are.
important, sweetheart, because
I
you
told
need
you
to
what our
understand
terms
it.
are.
Are you upset?
All right, I'll see you later. You're not going to
Whoa,
call me.
you're
You're
giving
not
up.
gonna call me.
Who's the landlord?
I don't know who you are.
I'm Danny D'Angelo. Who's the landlord here?
Me.
You own the building now?
Me.
A minute ago, you
Yes, I
worked
do.
for the landlord. Now you're the landlord.
Danny.
You let your
Right
personal
now,
feelings
I have
get
no
involved?
interest in leasing space with you. I don't lease to
Listen
people I
to
don't
your
respect.
little heart
How about
pounding.
that? How about,
Oh
how
my
about that?
God. You know nothing about commercial leases.
How about your? How
and
about
yet
your-
you. Go
How
ahead.
about you're not somebody I want to lease to? Because I could tell you right now,
That makes
I
sense.
don't want
You've
a
got
long-term
other people
relationship.
involved.
All right.
You have other people in a relationship? You won't even let me call
Goodbye,
you
Danny.
sweetheart.
Goodbye.
Don't
Goodbye.
don't
Please-
give up. Don't
please-
give up,
please
Matt.
lose this-
Today,
please
Matt, you're
lose
going to
this
know that you
number.
gave up. You gave up. You're a quitter. You're a quitter. He hung up. I can't believe he gave up. I can't believe he gave up.
Wow. Wow, that got intense.
In what way? So, when do you think that this guy? Well, let's back up. Are you upset with me?
No.
Okay. He doesn't make the decisions there. He lost his cool. So before I forget, we won't do this in chronological order, but before I forget, find out who owns this building. It's not this kid. Okay. And we are going to talk to somebody about potential lease. Now, this call went sideways when he decided that he wanted to say how it's funny to him. He was laughing. It's funny to him that he has so many people interested. He got a call. Didn't he say he got a call today? This week?
I believe he did. Yeah.
Do you believe that?
That's what that's the opening line. He said, popular subject today.
Yeah. You didn't call him.
No, I did not.
I didn't call him. So this is a study in the dichotomy of negotiations, okay? This guy quite literally did everything wrong on that call, trying to wind me up, laughing in my face, because he enjoys the type of tenant that calls up, and you know the voice. Hello? Can I please have some space for my business? Would it be okay if my family business came into your beautiful shipping mall and did our business? And then he says, well, let me tell you about first of all, 3%, I'm just now going chronologically, right? He told us what the rent would be, and then he said that is 3% on top of what the current operator who's failing is paying. I think you understand, knowing and working with me, that is not the way commercial leases work.
Just from watching your videos, it doesn't seem that way.
Now, this guy might think and I'm pretty sure he does think that's the way it works, and he's wrong. He's dead wrong. He admitted, I don't know what a reset is. Well, that's a flaw, buddy. Not in your character, not in the way you were built. It's a flaw in a negotiation when you admit that you don't know something or you're not aware of something. I said, well, I'll tell you what a reset is. Danny. Then he starts calling me Danny. Now, I already know he's going to hang up the phone on me at that point. You know what I mean? You know when you're going to get in a fight, right? The guy takes off his watch and it's kind of like, oh shit, here it comes. I didn't curse at him. He talked over me through the whole call. You remember that?
Yes.
He talked over me as though now listen, we're willing to spend hundreds of, I think the first real insult came, and we'll have to rewind this and maybe pick it apart, but the first real insult comes from our side when he says, I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you sell widgets. He just took the wind out of our sails. That was pretty good. That was a big point for him because I was going to say, a laundromat is different. I was going to go through, exactly. You've heard me say, I was going to say, what's this knucklehead's name? I already forgot. Matt, tell me, what's the makeup of this mall? Is there a place to eat there?
Yeah, there's a pizza place next door.
There you go.
There's
all I need to know. So Matt, you yourself, let me guess, you don't do your laundry in a laundromat every Sunday.
No, I don't. My ugly wife does the laundry.
Now I got him because this is an argument about the demographics. But he didn't want to go there. He didn't want to hear it. Because obviously the next line would be, well, you yourself have just taken you and your family, however many ugly kids are at home, you've taken yourself and your family out of the demographic. You would never, ever step foot in that laundromat. You're not a customer. You're middle class or upper. But you do eat pizza, don't you? So you might go to this mall because that pie is so good and step foot in that place and do that thing, but you would never even notice the laundromat 1 or 2 doors down. Never even know it was there. Not concerned about it. You're like a billionaire in the MVD. You don't go there. But he smartly, point for his side, said, I don't give a shit what kind of business you're in. It matters not to me and my ilk. But the argument is still there to be made, and he knew it was coming, right? I did mention we need to spend the money on equipment, and we are very different from your current tenant. He was done with it. I don't want you as a tenant, he said. Please. All you get from us is a check, and you know who you want as a tenant, you dumbass? You want someone who's shrewd, cat-like, and intelligent, who knows their shit. You know what he wants? He wants to run roughshod over people that don't know anything. Your phone rings and name any business that's not a laundromat, a pizzeria, or a national chain. Give me any business.
Tile store.
A tile store. You're a landlord. You have a 6,000 square foot spot on an end cap that you're in love with, and you're taking 2 meetings today. I'm not going to make this too obvious, but here it is. The first meeting is with a guy that says, I guess it would be too obvious no matter what I do. So here we go. I've been in the business 20 years. I've got a few stores in town. I'm not in love with this spot because I'm never falling in love with any location. I won't do 3% increases, your ask. I'm not going to pay X because market rate has nothing to do with my business. I will send you a letter of intent and we're ready to move. 20 minutes later, you get a call from, well, I'm very certain that my business will work here because I drove by a tile store once and it was fun. And my dad used to have a tile and I have lots of money and first and last month's rent and I will do this tile. Okay, I'm exaggerating, right? But incrementally, even smaller things. This guy would rather go with the second guy. Swear to God. There are landlords like that. He's not the decision maker. How dare he talk to anyone that way? We were, if your heart is pounding out of your chest, and yours probably was listening to that because you have vested interest in this. But if your heart is pounding out of your chest and you're losing your shit during a negotiation, no matter what it's over, unless it's love and marriage, if that's what you're going through, you should do something else or hire somebody like me. There are tons of, and this makes for fun. This is fun. A guy like that. But the problem with this dude is he fucking gave up. He gave up. Did I call him?
I've seen you turn. So
What's that?
I've seen you turn those arguments around.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're both ready to laugh. When I say to him, don't give up. I didn't say don't hang up, did I? I said don't give up. Because that's what he did. Danny starts saying my name. Did I call him names? Sweetheart.
You did call him sweetheart.
And he wouldn't even dance. Now, if you are on the outside looking in at this one and only call that it's probably going to end up into a 30 or 40 second short video, what a fool this guy Danny is. What a horrible negotiator. I can take that side with you and say, you're right. I failed you, Pat. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at the email. He never saw the email until we got on the phone with him. When I said my name, he looked it up. He looked in his junk. You could tell. Had no idea who I was. Refresh my memory, right? We're going way back to the inception of the call. Didn't save my number. I called his cell phone. He doesn't have my number saved in his phone. Didn't say laundromat guy. The way that I save people's names and information is pretty astute, I must say, because it's important, because I have hundreds of clients and I deal with thousands of landlords. And so this guy's going to go from Matt to Matt the quitter. And when I see that on my phone, I will know exactly what that means. And then it will link back to you, Pat, as the client. And it's obvious the way I put it in my phone, the way you do anything. Can you still end up with this store? Absolutely. You see, he wasn't even interested and intrigued in the proper rate of rent for a laundromat. He should have been. If the guy had any intelligence behind those glasses that I'm sure he wears, he would have said, well, tell me what is an appropriate rate of rent. You sound scholarly. It sounds like you know what you're doing when it comes. No, he did the vanilla threat, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But the mistake he made was lying to us about all the other people involved in the space. If I have 5 people involved in a space that have the same defined use, should I tell any of them about each other? Honestly.
I guess not, no.
James fucking Bond? You're going to go in and play Baccarat and tell everybody, hey, I work for the British Secret Service. Have a nice day. You schmooze in the back door. Take out your cigarette case. If this moron had 3 or 4 or 10 people involved and excited about this, he should have kept his trap shut. If I were the landlord and I listened to this call breakdown, I would say, wow, this guy's not the guy I want working for us. Told him there at the end, don't give up. At the end, but when you start talking over each other, he made a decision somewhere in the middle of that call that he didn't like me? What? What's not to like? These guys are like bad cops, and I don't want to get into thinking there are even a single bad cop in the world. All right, bad European police, right? They want to get the potential criminal in a dark alley and beat him with a phone book. That's what a guy like this wants to do to you and to any potential long-term renter. What do you think was the new? Here's what I mean. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to hear what your story is. I'm just going to beat you to death because I think you did it. I think you're guilty. This guy doesn't want to hear from a mouthpiece on your behalf. He's not waiting.
Yeah.
If I sent him 11 addresses of my existing locations for him, do you think he would go to even one of them?
No, not a chance.
Nobody ever has. You were saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he just wanted somebody to roll over. Yeah, that was obvious. I mean, this is the way it is. And, well, again, like you say, every lease is a negotiation. And if there's no negotiation, well, then it's not really an equal footing, is it?
We could still be on the phone with that guy right now talking about terms and the why that those terms exist. But for a dude like that, it's, listen, man, I've always been right. I will always continue to be right. I guess there was another insult when I asked what he did for a living. It's subtle, but it's good. I mean, I'm not just going to call somebody a horrible name. Sweetheart's a pretty good one. I don't care what you do for a living. It's retail space, and this is the market rate. See, he put his foot in his mouth and he said, it's the market rate for what? But he didn't want to hear it. It was already over. And that's the thing. I'm not going to try to quote it, but you see a couple morons arguing on the street corner and you get involved. It's hard to tell who the moron is.
Sure.
This was more of a quarrel. And there was a point when I carefully asked him about the disposition of the current tenant without asking. And I even said, this is not a question about your tenant. It's a question about our potential tenancy. And then I asked him, when can we sign a lease contingent on the current tenant's exit? You know why I asked that?
Go ahead. I don't.
Thank you for being cordial and telling the truth. I could have put it this way. Is this guy going to stay, Matt? Because if he is, I don't want to take the time to deal with you. So instead, I said, when can we sign it? He said, right now, right away. And I said, good. I was done with that query. And then he went on to further say, this guy's lease is up. He has no options. Wow. Does this sound like the kind of person you want as your landlord?
Yeah. I was just going to ask you about that.
Exactly.
They
a
were
lot
done with him, and
was going on in this call. I'm sorry for interrupting. A lot was going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, it sounded like they were done with him.
If he's willing to cut the throat of his current tenant 6 months prior to the end of his lease, how's he going to treat you?
Mm-hmm.
It's always got to be in the back of your mind. I carefully laid out a question regarding what we could do moving forward, not his current and or future previous tenant. And he gave up the ghost and said, well, he's not staying. Whoa, wait a minute. There was a lot of high wire tension on this call with this guy and I got to give him credit. Hey, I have landlords who've been doing this a lot longer than that guy. I only know by the sound of their voice, and then they tell me. I have landlords that own a lot more property and have a lot more personally invested with a smaller chip on their shoulder who come out and ask me, well, tell me about laundromats. Tell me what you should be paying. Tell me what a potential laundromat operator could pay and what I should be charging. Maybe that will make the decision moving forward to put an optometrist in here or a labor-ready shopper, anything but a laundromat. And I appreciate and applaud that. This guy told me, I don't give a shit if you sell widgets. Wow. Way to just wear your heart on your sleeve, sweetheart. Way to let us know that you do not have the tenant, any of your tenant's best interest at heart. Subtle, perhaps, but it's there. Now, again, You can push back against me, Pat, all you want. So can the internet. Well, you're an asshole, Danny. Absolutely. So when an asshole calls up and knows his stuff, you've got a neurosurgeon of 20 years. You're going to say, well, I'm not going to let you run the clinic because you're a dick. I don't know what that Alec Baldwin movie was. You say I have a God complex? I come here and crack somebody's skull open and save their life. I am God. That's sort of the beginning and the end of the speech, which is pretty good. I can do Glengarry Glen Ross almost verbatim, but not that movie. I am God. Take that out of context. No. I'm just an asshole. But I'm your asshole. If this guy wants, you know what? And by the way, we're gonna talk about what you need to do to get the store, because that's what you have charged me with. You can still get this laundromat, 100%. But first, we're going to find out who the landlord is, who the responsible parties are, whether it's a real estate investment trust or a third party or an old man who lives on top a hill. You do that research, and you've got 7 months to do it, and we'll send him another email apologizing for calling him sweetheart, among other things. I don't mind apologizing. Some people will tell you that every negotiation is who's on top. Doesn't matter. If your goal is to do a thing, do the thing. If you're talking someone off of a bridge, the goal is to save their life, not save your face. So imagine in a couple months when we send an apologetic email to him and we CC the actual landlord. How's he going to act then? I don't know who you are, he said. To which I retorted, I'm Danny D'Angelo. I didn't hear him scrambling for a pen to write that down either. It truly, really, really irks me when a landlord and someone charged with the well-being of all of those tenants, and that's really, they act as though they are 100% on the landlord's side. That's some overtaxing bullshit right there. We're just out here,
Alms for the poor. Alms for the poor.
and they're ringing a fucking bell that it's tax season. All right, now's your opportunity to go over everything that happened, chastise me or tell me good job, and then we'll go our separate ways.
We're a team on this. It's in for a penny, in for a pound.
I appreciate that. And that's why on a call like this, I don't mind breaking it down, because I want you to understand. And this is on YouTube, so we have the ability to go back and watch this from the beginning. And maybe we'll implore people to do that. And this will probably become an edited video. Never edited for content. I don't edit anything I do for content. I don't cut anything out other than missed calls. Ever. I just don't feel that that would be right. Why would I? Why would I cut out any part of that conversation? Unless an address slips through, or again, bleeping out some words for whatever reason, I don't give a shit. It's the full Monty. It's here for everyone to see. I have conversations like this all the time, that don't end up in the public eye, that don't end up on YouTube. I end up talking to landlords who are very, very kind and very horrible. And some days I'm in here in my underwear and I don't feel like turning the camera on. So great, so be it. Then we have scheduled calls where I know this landlord is ready to do the final talk. Hey, let's do it at 3 p.m. And then I can let the world know. 10,000 people don't show up to the channel, maybe 40, 50, 70. Excited to see what happens next. But in this case, we didn't even know if he would answer the telephone, nor did he. And if we go back and watch it from the beginning, where did it go sideways? Really, I think it's because he kept talking over me, and at some point I sighed about it. Did you notice that? Could you hear it?
Yeah, I noticed.
He kept talking, and I just went, ugh. And I have a huge microphone that I can into, and I think he heard it pretty well. Pat, stay on with us. We might as well talk with some of the people. Hender, what the fuck? Hender just gave me $49.99 in the top chat for some reason.
Hender's doing all right.
Yeah. Hender, I think you're supposed to ask a question or something. He sent a spinning robot. Okay. Hender, you're hilarious. All right. Whoever wants to outdo Hender, it's only $50. Only $50, and you've shown him up by a penny. It makes it easy. Let's start the bidding. $50. I will put a thing on Instagram tonight with the drinks I buy. We're going to do the oyster bar. The Wash Laundromat, says funny guy. Thanks. Danny, I love when you call their bluff. I know, Lance, right? That is what it is, right? I mean, it was a bluff. 3 people. And that little laugh? What is that? Are you trying to get under somebody's skin? Is that kind of the point? You're just another shitty laundromat operator, Pat. That's who you are. That's who you are to this guy. That's who I am. Let's get angry. D. Williams says, keeping it real, love it. Well, we love you, D. Williams. Woo, love the lives. Eric from West Orange. Hi, Eric. George says, hi, Danny. Was watching your course when I got an alert about your live stream. Glad I caught it. All right, George, since we're on here and you're on here, where are you at in the course? And tell us something that you had no knowledge of that you've learned. TDG says, hit the thumbs up. Okay, if you want. Hender says, Dunny D. Dunny D. I'm not going to try to get it right, Hender. Did the stream stop, says Neverine? Maybe your computer did. Did you pay your bill? Because we're all still here. Love it. He doesn't know his own job. That was pretty good. What's your job? He had to think about it. Wouldn't surprise me if he didn't know about rent abatement or TI. Oh, shit. Andrew, good point. Pat, we didn't even get to free rent. You think you'd get it?
I didn't even.
Guy like this? He just that little laugh, and then, why would I give you any free rent? Oh, boy. You know, if I had a crystal ball, here's what I would love to see here. This operator leaves the first of the year, and the place just sits vacant for 6 more months. Then we reach out and we say, look, let's do a lease. No, and we get to 6. Or even if we reach out, like the plan is within the next 3 months, we will reach out to this guy. Again, this is why people should subscribe to the channel, right? I've been on this thing since 2012, 2013 doing these. So yeah, there will be the revisitation of this particular guy, most likely. And imagine when we do that, and it's 3 months prior to the release of this tenant, and he says no to all of it. Then we can hit him up in 6 months in the middle of next year and say, come on, man, you'd be 6 months closer to collecting a rent check. That's the hammer. The real hammer. Oh, what happened to those 3 people that you had lining up to give you not only what this guy's paying, but more? Of course, it's a reset. It's always a reset. Unbelievable. He was angry because he fucked up and he said, I've never heard of that. Trying to be like, oh, I've never heard of an oil change. Well, there's no analogy there. Deontay Foster says, I've been scouting. I came across an old coin laundry in a building that's been shut down for at least 15 years, but has recently been purchased. I know we're after infrastructure. Is that a lead? No. For the cheap seats that are watching this, 15 years? The only chance I would touch that store with a 15-meter cattle prod is if every single piece of equipment was still inside. Why? Do we want 15-year-old equipment, Pat?
No, we don't.
No. But if the equipment was still there, those washers and dryers would, just from a glance, would be shielding the gas, water, electric, the copper pipes, and everything else. You want a 15-year-old yacht? God, no. Pardon me. You want a 15-year-old yacht? Maybe. You want a 15-year-old yacht that's been sitting in harbor for 15 years? No. A 15-year-old yacht that's been chartered every day? Which one do you think's better? Pat, you're the foil here. You're supposed to be answering these questions.
One that's been out running.
Yeah. Pour gas in it and go. It's not about hours on the engine at this point. It's about how decrepit is that laundry and will you be able to bring it back? And that's a pretty good analogy, methinks. By the way, should you ever own a yacht? Even though I do, you probably shouldn't. You should charter one for the weekend because it's cheap. Because those people want their yacht moving. Now, for you personally, that was for the group. For you personally, Deontay, let's get on the phone. Let's talk about your options because you're fixated on that store because it's closed and you think it's easy money. Just like you heard, the preponderance of the stores that we take over are operating because this knucklehead store that our friend Matt is tossing on his ear with no regard for him, his family, his business. We don't want his store in its current condition. We want the infrastructure that is still there, like the motor in the yacht, keeping the thing afloat. Damn, that was good. Brandon says, Danny, let's hit an open mic together. I see Netflix special in our future. Maybe so, buddy. Maybe so. Brandon, should we click on your thing? And are you funny? Are you a comic? Do you do the thing? Do you do voices? A little bit. I do a little bit. I used to do that. Did you know I was a comic? George says 80% done with the course. I'm in Northern California. I learned about doing laundry for business like restaurants and hotels. Okay, George, I'm not sure what you mean, but good. Deontay says the equipment's still there. Thanks for the response. Hey, shit. There you go. So I'm 2% excited about a 15-year-old closed store because that equipment, it is not good. But no one, including the moths, go in and take the washers and dryers out, cut out the copper, and then gently put them back. There's just no reason for it. Doesn't happen. Anyone would like to jump on the top chat and talk about this particular call? Let's do that. Patty, I know you got shit to do. Go find me some more stores. And when I say that, I mean you. And figure out who the landlord is on this particular location so that we can turn the screws just a little bit. And that's a big FU to send an email and then CC them. Maybe they don't care, but at least we're showing that we're smart enough to know that there are other entities involved. He said that he was not the landlord. And then minutes later, he said it's his building. Wow, goofy. I guess I wasn't supposed to remember that.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
You will. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
See ya.
Ciao. Let me ask you guys this. How would you, watching this call with this landlord's representative, a guy that punches a clock, how would you have reacted? Would you have gone into the call with a notepad and a Sharpie in one hand and a pen in the other, notes ready to go, lines prepared? And would any of that done you any good? The greatest thing about all of this, no matter how poorly the call goes, no matter how bad the negotiation seems, there's another laundromat 2 blocks away, and 2 blocks further, and 2 blocks in the other direction. That's what this is about. And if you have the time or the inclination and you want to go out and watch 1,000 of my videos, you'll see how very different the conversation is. That was a nice, cordial conversation until this guy decides to step to me, and it's not about me. If there's any clash ever, it's because I'm protecting you from someone looking to run roughshod over you. If you're joining us late, go back and watch that call. Listen to that call. Wow. We do a thing on this channel, and here's what we're going to do. There's 47 of you watching this live right now. When I end it, stay in your seats. Not in the top chat in this live stream, but in the real video. Take the time, all 47. Go over there and mention something about the word sweetheart. Your high school sweetheart, your current wife is your sweetheart, how you think that Matt is a sweetheart, something about a heart and a sweet tart. I don't care, but go do it. See, 2 people already jumped off. You guys suck. Bye.